When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. We come to the seventh seal, and Chris is going to read some short passages. Thank you very much, Chris.
Reading from Revelation 7:15 to 17. Therefore they are before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will shelter them with his presence. Never again will they hunger, never again will they thirst. The sun will not beat down on them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb at the centre of the throne will be their shepherd. He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe every tear from their eyes. And then chapter 8, verses 1 to 5. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel who had a golden censer came and stood at the altar. He was given much incense to offer, and with the prayers of all God's people on the golden altar in front of the throne, the smoke of the incense together with the prayers of God's people went up before God from the angel's hand. Then the angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and hurled it on the earth. And there came peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. And from James 5, verse 16. Therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And from Luke 11, verses 1 to 3. One day Jesus was praying in a certain place. When he finished, one of his disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray, just as John taught his disciples. He said to them, when you pray, say, Father, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come. Give us each day our daily bread. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. The great composer Schubert once wrote a piece that was particularly moving. Usually, when great performances of music finished, the audience claps, maybe even cheers. But when this particular piece of Schubert was rendered, the audience sat in silence. And then after a while, still overawed by the music, they got up and quietly departed. Silence is a rarity in this sound-soaked culture, but the most powerful silences are not merely an absence of noise, but profound and deep experience in which one can perceive aspects of reality which are otherwise drowned out in the surface chatter and babble. John, at the end of chapter 7 of Revelation, John has been treated to not just earthly choral, but heavenly choral of music and praise and worship to the one who sits upon the throne and to the Lamb. What must it have sounded like? And then chapter 8. Chapter 8. verse 1. There are no seals in chapter 7. The first 6 seals of the 7 come in chapter 6. And then chapter 8, verse 1, the seventh seal. If you remember the sixth seal, the sixth seal, well, that was the end of the world. That was the end of the world. The stars fall, and the sixth seal. All the people who are not marked with the seal of God cry out to the mountains to fall on them, to shield them from the wrath of the one who sits upon the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Yes, that's the sixth seal. What more remains to happen in the seventh seal after the end of the world, but Christ returning? So you would think that the seventh seal would be the end of the book of Revelation. What more needs to happen apart from Christ returning, judging, putting an end to this present age? But when the seventh seal was opened, he doesn't come. There is silence. On the very brink of Christ coming back to judge, every breath is held, the music stops, and there is silence. One writer wrote that silence is creation's expectant response to God's imminent arrival and wrath. Zechariah 2:13 says, "Be silent, all flesh, because the Lord has roused himself in his holy temple." Zechariah 1:7 said, Be silent, all the earth, because the day of the Lord is near. The final wrath of God is so fearful, so awful, that the inhabitants of heaven stand spellbound in silent amazement on the very brink of Jesus appearing from the clouds. He doesn't. To use a popular expression these days, but wait, there's more contours of history, more unfolding of God's plans to save his people. What else happens in the seventh seal? I'll tell you, but first a little interlude of explanation about the chronology of Revelation. All the reputable scholars that I know, and I believe them, say that the events of Revelation do not happen in a chronological order. So the order in which he sees the visions is chronological. And then I saw, and then I saw, and then I saw, and then I saw. That is chronological. He sees the 7 seals, and then he sees the 7 trumpet visions, and then he sees the 7 bowls of God's wrath vision. But the contents of each vision do not follow chronologically, because for example, the contents of the sixth seal is the end. The stars fall. You can't have much more happening after the stars fall. So the content of the visions of the trumpet and the bowl must happen chronologically before the contents of the sixth seal. And the scholars say it's not chronological, it's recapitulatory. So the seventh trumpet recap the seven seals, and the seven bowls recap the seven trumpets and the seven seals, but from a different camera angle. So much. Richard Phillips, who wrote the best book on Revelation yet, says that the seven seals display God's judgment from the point of view of the restraint of God's judgment, because God's people are still on the earth. The seven trumpets display God's wrath from the point of view of the victory of Jesus Christ. The seven bowls of God's wrath display God's wrath, God's judgment from the point of view of God's wrath. So that's the little lesson on the chronology. It's recapitulatory rather than chronological. And then back to the seventh seal. Chapter 8, verse 1. The seventh seal was opened, and there was silence. Verse 2 of chapter 8, we are introduced to the seven angels. The seven angels. The definite article, the seven angels, means not just any old seven angels, but the seven archangels of God's presence. Wouldn't you like to know their names? The Bible says two of their names, namely Michael and Gabriel. But one Enoch might say the other five. One Enoch is not the Bible. It's not canon. You don't base your life on one Enoch. But just because it's not the Bible doesn't mean to say it's worthless. It's very interesting. One Enoch may say the names of the other five archangels. They are Uriel, Raphael, Reguel, Sariel, and Remiel. Just in case you wanted to know. And then the seven archangels and archangels of God's presence are given seven trumpets to blow. But before they blow them, the narrator tells them to wait, because just wait. I know that you want to blow them, but just wait, because the seventh seal is not finished yet. Don't interrupt the seventh seal. So the continuation of the seventh seal has yet another angel coming with a golden censer, and he's going to fill it was in lots of incense in the prayers of the saints. And he's going to pour out the contents of the golden censer onto the golden altar, which he does. And then the incense and the prayers of the saints rises before the one who sits upon the throne. And then that same angel fills his golden censer with fiery coals from the altar, and he goes and hurls them all to the earth, and the peals of thunder, flashes of lightning, and a great rumblings and a great earthquake. Just when you think Jesus is going to appear, he doesn't. He doesn't appear personally, but you could say that there are people who think he does appear in wrath and judgment. And in fact, Jesus says in Luke 12:49, I have come to cast fire on the earth, and how I wish it was already kindled. And can you remember the fifth seal? The fifth seal has got the martyred saints under the altar, the beheaded saints under the altar, and they say, how long, O Lord? How long, O Lord, before you come and avenge us? And this is the answer to the appeal of the saints unto the altar. Another short pause. I want to draw your attention to the three verses. 8:1, 8:2, and 8:3. 8:1 has the seventh seal. 8:2 the introductions of the seven trumpet angels. 8:3 the prayers of the saints rise up before the one who sits upon the throne. John displays great artistry, and the Spirit of God, yes. But just when you think that Christ is going to return, the seven angels, the seven trumpet angels are introduced, and then just when you think they're going to blow the trumpet, the prayers of the saints go up before the throne, and then the angel casts fire on the earth. These three things are intimately connected. It's no accident that the imminent return of Christ, God's sovereignty and the judgment, getting the seven trumpet angels to just desist for a while, and then God's judgment on the earth as a response to the prayers of the saints are all intimately connected. And so your prayers work. When you pray, you are to envisage the fire being hurled to earth. So the beheaded or the martyred saints under the altar in seal 5, when they say, how long, O Lord, before you come and avenge us, they're not operating from a mean-spirited desire for they're not vindictive. They have lost their lives in following Jesus, in testifying to Jesus. They would never be vindictive. They followed Jesus, who says, Father, forgive them because they know not what they do. Stephen said, the first martyr said, do not hold this sin against them. So the beheaded saints are not operating from any vindictiveness. They're really saying, when are you going to show your glory? When are you going to act in judgment and salvation? Open the seals, blow the trumpets, pour out your bowls of God's wrath, rouse yourself in your holy temple. Rouse yourself. Arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Thy kingdom come. When you envisage the angel pouring out, hurling fiery coals to the earth, and there's a great earthquake, that's 3 for the price of 1. God is operating in judgment, judging the earth dwellers, judging the godless, those who will never come to Him, judging, but also saving His people, and also sanctifying His people. An example, 2004, that great tsunami that flooded Asia, and 300,000 people were killed because of the great tsunami. Remember 2004? Lots of Christians went there and to help and to rebuild homes and give the people medical treatment. Lots of Christians went there, and then months later, when the Christians left, they left churches planted all over the place. Salvation and then sanctification. So 3 for the price of 1. When the angel hurled his fire to the earth. 2 take-home points. 1, prayer works. God works through the faithful, fervent prayers of His saints, of His people. James 5:16, the prayer of a righteous person is perfect, powerful, and effective. And Revelation is chasing that truth in a pictorial form. When the angel with a golden censer hurls fire to the earth, that's saying the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. So that's your prayer works is more effective than you know. And 2, the last prayer point is when Jesus taught His disciples to pray, He said, when you pray, say, Our Father, etc. He didn't mean when you pray, say the exact words, otherwise it won't work. Pardon. He says, he means when you pray, mean, or have words, have words to that effect. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So the point is, all the orientations of your prayers must be to the end that God is glorified. His kingdom is coming. His will has been done. He is glorified. His name is hallowed. And then and only then do you pray for yourself. Give us this day, our daily bread. Lead us not into temptation. The unspoken meaning behind your personal prayers is that they are means to the end of His glory. Feed me for your glory. Do not lead me into temptation for your glory. Heal me for your glory. But if you're going to be more glorified and you're not healing me, don't heal me. If you're going to be more glorified and my patiently, cheerfully dying of my cancer, then be glorified and don't heal me. But whatever you do, make it be for your glory. Give me a parking spot for your glory. So whenever you pray, the unspoken orientation of your prayer is thy kingdom come. We want you to be glorified. And when you pray that way, your prayer works, because the angel casts down fire in judgment, salvation, and sanctification. That's the seventh seal.